Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, as we are in Group D at the moment, and we just witnessed Innovation absolutely have a blinder of a series there. And because he is Innovation. All right, so
sick.
So sick, so sick. So let's move on. We do have our next matches coming on up. It's going to be ShoWTimE versus GuMiho here on this stage. And we just had a word from Rotterdam saying that this is potentially a series that he could win here against GuMiho. What do we think?
Yeah, I think it is potentially a series he could take down. Like, ShoWTimE has world-class, top-of-the-world PvT. We saw that at BlizzCon. He was like solving things other people couldn't do. Like, he was actually using Colossus and High Templar.
Yeah.
And Disruptors all at once in the same army.
Yeah.
You and I were talking about, I'm like, I don't even know how he does that with hotkeys. Like, how does that even work? Like,
it was very impressive, and he kind of like standardized, you know, the regular build order that you go for, and made it look very solid. Apparently, they played after that backstage and didn't go nearly as well, but he went well in the actual match. I guess that's what matters, and he beat Beyond. So why not GuMiho, who is an unorthodox player himself, though?
Yeah, he plays a very different brand of Terran most of the time, and he has his own strengths and weaknesses, but I think it is a match ShoWTimE has potential to win. I don't know who I'd even favor in this right at the second, but I do know that I think that this is going to be one of the critical matches for ShoWTimE and GuMiho, because I feel like they are both right there with Dark, where it's like, I think one of these two of these three are going to get out, right? So their matches against each other are almost more important. Let's just chalk them all up as losses against Innovation to be safe, right?
Well, we saw how
it's like,
Innovation wants to make sure after like the tiebreakers that we almost had in some other groups, he wants to make sure there is no tiebreaker for first place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
he's not going to let that happen.
Definitely. Well, I'm getting word now that the stage is ready as we do get our two players on to battle it out. So Smix, take it away.
Thank you very much, Claris, for our third match of Group D. It should be a great one. It's a DreamHack finalist going up against a 3-time EPS champion. It's GuMiho versus ShoWTimE.
ShoWTimE versus GuMiho. A very important PvT in this series to find out who's going to take it out. I am Pig, with me is Rotterdam. How are you going, mate?
I'm going well. Long days over here at the Intel Extreme Masters, but we're having so much fun. It feels like it's almost more intense than ever because it's not just the mainstream that we're following. We're also trying to watch all the other games.
Yeah.
So it feels kind of like a storm or a tornado of StarCraft information that's coming at me, and it's like 8, 9, 10 hours a day. But I'm still loving it, and I'm super excited for this series. Totally agree with the guys on the desk. I think this is a very, very big series. I think if ShoWTimE loses this one, I don't want to say he's down and out because he would only be 1 and 2, and you could say anything is still possible, and his PvZ is good. But winning this one would be a massive step towards at least a round of 12 for our German pros.
It's an important step to get through there. And I mean, what a pleasure this tournament has been so far and is continuing to be. I keep just thinking, if I woke up one day and I had the option to have 3 or 4 different monitors in front of me showing live games of all of these guys playing against each other. You've got Dark and Innovation on one screen, ShoWTimE and GuMiho on another. I don't think I'd sleep for like 3 days if I could just keep watching those games, and that is the pleasure that this tournament has been giving us here. So we are going to be diving into this very important match to kick things off. The first map will be Proxima Station. And up in the top right-hand side, our Red Terran player recently picked up by Psystorm Gaming. It is GuMiho.
Of course, the same can be said for this man. It's a very big series for him as well. He also lost his first series against Dark, wants to turn it around, wants to at least represent his team once in the round of 12 after Pilly, and unfortunately True were not able to make it. Over here on the left bottom side, we're looking at the main base of the German Protoss. Give it up for ShoWTimE. Even though Pilly did get so incredibly close, I'm still very impressed by the performance of our North American Protoss earlier today. What a run he's had over here.
Really good. I mean, he was so close to making it through. And that whole group, a little bit of a heartbreaking story for him, but at the same time, such a big confidence booster. I mean, just making it into the main event to the group stage, already, that's a huge step in a player's career. But then to almost make it through to the top 8 of the IEM World Championship, an insane performance, and that's something all of these players here want to be repeating as well. Especially, they'd love to get that first place seed right through to the round of 8 so they don't have to play that preliminary match.
Now, Proxima Station is a map that... Is that a full wall pick?
Oh my gosh, I think it is. And we've got a proxy going on. ShoWTimE, gonna bring out the builds. Robo, right? It's gonna be a Robo. He's gonna like bust the rocks with like Immortals or like drop like a Disruptor. It's gonna be something crazy coming out here to start things off for ShoWTimE.
You think Disruptor or just Immortals? I kind of think just Immortals.
Because we've said this, he's gonna build a Stargate. He's just gonna go an Oracle straight away. We're gonna be like, what? But it could just
He's gonna
like
bring the Proxy Tempest back, big. Come on, it doesn't work anymore in Legacy, but it doesn't matter. He's gonna do it for us.
Oh, I hope so. It is actually just going to be Stargate and Mothership Core. So it looks like a classic pylon rush on the front. I'm just very curious about that wall off back at home.
I think just super fast, or I mean, he just wants to hide it, right? Like he wants to pretend that maybe he went Nexus first. He just wants to make it impossible for GuMiho to figure this out. Meanwhile, GuMiho, by the way, we're so focused on this one base opening from ShoWTimE. GuMiho is also opening one. Is that? That's not a Raven opening, right?
Raven or Cloaked Banshee. It's got to be one of the two.
I kind of think that's perhaps a Cloaked Banshee opening, which would be insane as well.
Off a single Marine.
Imagine if he goes Liberator range, which is also incredibly sick on this map. Like one of the sickest builds you could possibly do, but obviously...
GuMiho's completely blind right now though, right? I don't think he's scouted other than that Marine walking down the front. So he has no defense against this Oracle. He's got a single Marine, no Marine production, no reactor. GuMiho is going for a crazy gamble here. He's no doubt researched ShoWTimE, said this guy macros, he plays defensively, and ShoWTimE playing completely against his image is going to blindside him.
This is not good though for GuMiho. I don't see a world where this is good for him. He's going to lose his supply depots. Now, ShoWTimE is about to scout for the first time, and I wonder what he's thinking. He's like, what? This crazy guy is opening Cloak Banshee? Who does that? You know, that was a build in 2010, 2011. Oh. CC does not finish up. He's going to build a Robo at him just to make sure that he has an Observer. But I mean, he can even follow this up with Phoenixes, and that would be absolutely fantastic, because there's not going to be any Steam Marines, so just imagine how good Phoenix will be.
Wow, both depots going down, 5 SCVs. Phoenix are on the way behind this, a Robo. The Nexus is finished in the natural for ShoWTimE. This is not an all-in. This is just a very aggressive opening that goes into standard macro play. And already, GuMiho is completely hamstrung. He is massively supply blocked. His command center hasn't even finished building.
These Phoenixes are going to completely wreck. I hope that ShoWTimE builds more than just one Phoenix. There you go, second Phoenix as well. Phoenixes are king in low eco games, and this is an incredibly low eco game right now. So every SCV he could pick off is deadly, and he doesn't have to worry about losing the Phoenixes. The only thing that could kill a Phoenix right now is the Widowmine, nothing else. However, the Observer is not done yet, so the Banshee will be able to get a little bit of work done, but I still like this a lot for the German Protoss.
ShoWTimE's reaction here is so good. That Observer comes out, that's going to be the end of that Banshee. It's just going to grab about 6 kills for itself.
Kind of would have liked to see him run the probes away. What do you think?
I'm always torn on that. I feel like right now at the end of or latter half of a long day of casting, it's beyond me to actually analyze, but I definitely wouldn't be against it if he chose to do that.
Like whenever you think like, it's almost there, and you just let your probes idle, you lose 6-7 workers so quickly. This time it was just 6. This is good at least for GuMiho that he's able to unpower the Stargate. That means it's going to be just 2 Phoenixes for now. It's also going to be another Banshee. The second Banshee is almost like the second Oracle in PvP when it's a Stargate war. Like, you're not supposed to do it.
The detection all moves out across the map. There's no anti-air there, and it can potentially come in and do massive damage. The Oracle, they're really respecting this natural. There's actually no anti-air.
There's a mine, though, somewhere.
Somewhere. I think it's in the main base.
Yep.
He's going to waste a bit of mining time there, though. So ShoWTimE not doing, you know, game-ending damage just yet, but 39 workers versus 26 probes. That's a pretty monstrous economic position for him to already be in.
Yeah, 15 workers ahead. Let's see if this Cloak Banshee is going to be able to get anything done. Where are the observers right now of ShoWTimE? Wow, he's got 3. He's got 1 in the natural, 1 outside.
The Banshee shows itself, does snipe off that probe that was trying to build the 3rd. It's just going to back off. So now that he's shown there's an extra Banshee, ShoWTimE's going to have to be very careful and really make sure he leaves detection at home at all times.
Yep. Meanwhile, of course, he still has that Oracle as well. Yeah, you gotta love this if you're ShoWTimE. 16 workers is way more than you normally had. The only downside to ShoWTimE's build is that the real firepower it's obviously a little bit away, right? Like he's not going to be able to have access to something incredibly powerful anytime soon. But he does drop the Robo Bay. It's going to take a while, but at the same time, it's also going to take a while before GuMiho can somehow run across the map, as STIM is only like 30% completed.
I'm kind of looking at GuMiho's position, I'm thinking, how do you get out of this? And all we see is non-stop tank production. I really think he's going to commit to a hard timing. He's even going to push across already when Stim's not even halfway done. And then he's going to try and force the fight the moment Stim finishes.
Am I crazy, or did ShoWTimE block his own third base?
No way.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, never mind.
He just didn't have the money for it just yet, and this is a good reaction from ShoWTimE. He's got a full 2-base economy, against what is really a base and a half for GuMiho here. So it's just about getting out enough Stalkers. He's adding in an Immortal to help against this push, and when Blink finishes, he can just really dance around this army.
Yep, and that's the real power, of course. You just go back and forth, you get a couple of shots off. He gets the Viking, and he pushed a lot of damage out on that Cyclone. So this is already incredibly successful for ShoWTimE. Wow, I'm not sure about that Blink. That's a patience Blink if I've ever seen one.
2 Stalkers for a tank, a little bit of a risky trade there. Does slow down the push though. Does put a little bit of fear in GuMiho. One of the upsides of just going completely crazy and jumping on top of the army. First Colossi is on the way. There's one Immortal coming out as well. ShoWTimE has got a third Nexus going down. He's got Charge going down immediately behind this.
I love it. I'm a big fan of Blink into Charge. That's the way to do it. Charge also really messes with the AI. The Observer and Phoenix are a little bit out of position.
Found like the little gap in the vision. You can tell GuMiho has played this many times before. And Artist at finding that opening there.
Yeah, I don't really understand why you would put the Observer there rather than just keeping it here. If you have the Phoenix there anyway, that would be enough detection for a potential drop. Once again, he doesn't pull the workers, loses 8 very, very quickly. So that's nice for GuMiho, slowly but steady. Our Korean Terran is truly evening things up. Maybe a Guardian Shield here and get the Immortal in range of the tanks, but ShoWTimE doesn't want to commit.
One Colossi is out, but there is still no ranged upgrade finish just yet. Second Colossi is on the way. That's going to time out with Charge. ShoWTimE might be able to wait until then, but I kind of am wishing he would just push out and engage right now because, yeah, there we go. GuMiho is just going to back off. Smart maneuver here by GuMiho. He's done so much to even up the economy. I thought this was a horrendous opening for GuMiho, and I mean, without a doubt it was, but he's managed to recover with this Banshee harass.
It was like 6 and 8 at once. I mean, that does really add up. And obviously ShoWTimE cut workers once or twice just to get a couple of units out. But I have completely forgot about the Phoenixes. But if those 2 Phoenixes lift the tanks, that would actually prioritize all these Marines to shoot down the Phoenixes. If you don't do it, it's just Marines, and there is Guardian Shield and the Colossus. Where are these Phoenixes, ShoWTimE? I really think they could come in incredibly handy in the battle.
Yeah, lifts on siege tanks from behind would be massive. As you pointed out, Guardian Shield and Force Fields could be huge here as well. Charge is now done though. I really do think Charge, this Immortal, this Colossi, I think right now, ShoWTimE, yeah, he's got to go for it now though. He doesn't want to let GuMiho's army catch up. He's got to get rid of these important tech units, these siege tanks. GuMiho though, such good game sense. He realizes it's getting to that point and he pulls home ShoWTimE. Not quite able to sense that moment of strength.
Yeah, I think you're right. If he just goes for it there with all these Zealots running forward, they will be able to absorb a couple of the tank shots. Then you blink forward, you shoot down a medevac or 2, and then the rest of the Terran army is honestly not that impressive anymore. Perhaps a missed opportunity there by our German Protoss, who was off a great start in this game. Now I'm starting to get a tiny bit worried because his third CC is done. The Forge is only halfway done, but GuMiho already has +1. Yeah, that's... he needs to get something done here.
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward position being so close in economy, and because you know, there was a lot of aggression in the early game, the main bases are already half mined out. Oh, no. So whoever gets a faster 4th will get a big advantage, so there is the option to go for that.
The Phoenix are still here though, so the Phoenix should be able to intercept this drop, at least force an early drop. Man, see how fast GuMiho reacts to that? That's actually great. That was like the first Phoenix shot was mid-air, and he's like, oh no.
GuMiho is so good with his multitasking and his aggression here. Gonna find an opening. He's gonna lose this drop in return for that, but does get 4 probe kills. Yet another interruption on ShoWTimE's economy.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, there wasn't that much that he could have hoped for with this drop. After he got scouted by the Phoenixes, you can't fly home because it will get gunned down by the Phoenixes. So still getting 4 workers is definitely something. But with Storm now halfway down, this is going to be interesting. It truly comes down to execution, but most of the time, ShoWTimE, his engagements in this matchup, they are pretty damn sweet.
Oh, 1-1 is about to finish for Terran. It looks like GuMiho wants to push the issue here. He wants to force a fight, takes out the Observer. ShoWTimE Storm is finished. He has 4 Storms ready in this army. I don't think GuMiho's seen the Templar. Now he does. He's got to be worried about that.
Look at the feedback potential, Big. If there's one thing in StarCraft that makes me incredibly happy, it's feedback. I just love seeing things die immediately, and every single feedback would mean a dead medevac.
Oh, it looks like ShoWTimE's going to go for it. The charge lots dive on top of those siege tanks. The Stalker's focusing down the Vikings. Storms are good. The Bio gets absolutely shredded.
Landed a couple of feedbacks there as well in the end, and he just wipes the floor with this Terran army. GuMiho is going to follow this up with a couple of Liberators, but another Blink is going to shoot down 2 more medevacts. ShoWTimE takes a commanding lead in this game.
Such a master of finding these strong points there. His 1-1 is about to finish up. He's looking to counterattack, but he doesn't have any pressure on him to force himself in. He's got the 4th Nexus on the way. He's got more High Templar reinforcing, but he's going to go for it.
I kind of like it. I mean, he feels like he's far ahead enough, so why not? He gets the Liberators. A couple of Archons show up as well. The Immortal stands strong, and I think that's all he wrote for game number 1. GG.
A great opening. A little moment of hesitation in the mid-game, but in the end, ShoWTimE's engagement was just too good. A fantastic game there from our German Protoss player. Really abusing his opponent. And that very weird opening, I have to wonder, did ShoWTimE know something about GuMiho's recent patterns? Did he spy this sort of weird gameplay from him on Proxima, or did he just anticipate some sort of greedy play from the Terran?
Yeah, I don't know, but that's obviously a weird scenario, right? Like a 1-base Protoss opening on Proxima, we don't see that super often, but that's something that's still a little bit in the meta. You know, the proxy Stargates, they can always get some damage done. But the 1-base Cloak Banshee, I mean, GuMiho was pretty much hoping for any build other than what he actually faced.
Exactly. So guys, let's hear from the guys on the desk and see how the other matches are going. James, take it away.
Thanks very much, Pig. It seems that ShoWTimE is showing up here in game number 1, but we do have some updates here from the desk as well. So firstly, let's start with Artosis, who is currently in Dark versus Uthermal. Artosis.
Yeah, nothing too wild to report. We're just in game 1 on Proxima Station right now. We can go ahead and jump in and see what's going on, but it's a pretty standard game, to be honest.
3-0.
Yeah, no, it's actually 7-3 right now.
Nice.
Okay, so
we can go with that.
We're playing like a best of 14 or something like that.
Okay.
Anyways, Dark is playing pretty normal, you know, just Ling upgrades, Baneling speed on the way. Uthermal hasn't done like a whole ton of damage or anything. He's just been poking and prodding, but no real committals and no 3rd command center that I have found yet.
All right.
So,
well,
oh wait, no, there it is. I was like, wait a minute, where is that?
Where is that dastardly
thing? But yeah, nothing too crazy.
All right, well, thank you very much, Artosis. Next up, we need to check in with Todd, who currently has Innovation going up against Mana. Todd.
Yeah, this is game 1 here on Cactus Valley, and we just missed a massive fight where Innovation traded. He got cleaned up eventually, but he's doing better. He's got way more supply. That's what's important, remember. It was actually super interesting. There was a Stargate play from Mana and Phoenixes, and then Innovation went for a huge contain there, pulled back on time before Mana was going to break out of there. Then Mana double expanded, but Innovation killed that one. Yeah. And now we find ourselves with Innovation on 4 bases and just quite a bit more. It feels like this is basically about to end. Mana, like, he put up a good fight, but cleaning this up is going to be hard. Like, I mean, I don't want to call it too early. Army-wise, it's 95 to 112, so maybe he can do this because there's not actually that much...
couple of good disruptor hits will turn anything around.
Turn anything.
They never hit those damn things, do
I
they?
know. Needs to go faster.
Well, that's all right. So
what's this fight?
And Innovation.
That
did I
was
tell
so
you?
close. Oh my god.
They never hit anything.
just
It was like a
never hit,
millisecond. If that hit, he wins this battle.
And now Innovation
brutal.
is going to do what he does best.
Look at the score at the bottom.
Wow.
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 Thank you very much, Todd.
GG.
Perfect times. Perfect timing. Innovation really just absolutely rocking it at the moment. Sometimes when I see him going into tournaments at the start of things, maybe he's like, oh, you know, I'll take this a bit more relaxed or whatever, but then eventually towards the later stages, he just really turns it on and kills everything. But already here, he's killing everything.
Yeah. There's no other way to put it.
I feel like I'm watching his stream and he's just going to lathering, relaxed and just beating everybody.
You're just going to have that screen, all green wins, and just like, oh yeah, okay, I'm ranked #1 in this tournament too.
I'm Innovation, I'm the best in the world. Oh, that's fine. Okay.
I have 7,000 tournament MMR. That's pretty sick.
All right, thank you very much, gents. It's time to go back to the casters here for game number 2.
Thank you, guys. I wonder what the tournament MMR of the players in this match is. Maybe not quite as high as the Machine himself, but pretty good nonetheless.
I mean, technically, tournament MMR is your Leisure Leg ranking.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, actually. And ShoWTimE, the highest foreigner, I believe he's like top 5 overall in the world on Ligulac right now.
I know that 9 out of the 10 players in the world, according to that ranking, are here. I think the only one that's missing is good old Maru.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Of course.
I think Innovation is second behind Beyond, if I'm not mistaken.
We'll see how long that one lasts. But we are going to be going into map number 2 of this best of 3 series. Taking a hard loss in map number 1. Spawning here in the bottom left-hand side, the Red Terran, it is GuMiho.
Probably a little upset with his build order choice in game number 1. He's like, God, why didn't I do Cloak Banshee? Who told me this? He has one of his friends who said, hey man, I've got the sick build for you, it always works. He's like, all right, one time. Anyways, over here on the right bottom side, we're looking at the main base of the German Protoss. Can he close the deal? It's ShoWTimE.
Really? I like saying that every time you say, it's ShoWTimE. You know, it sounds kind of special. It tickles me.
It's a play on words. Makes you happy.
Yeah.
Really impressive with how consistent ShoWTimE has been, though, over the last like 12 to 16 months. I'm actually blown away by it. He was praised for a while about being the best Protoss player in Europe, but he's truly lived up to it, and he almost never lets you down. Of course, there will be a couple of players that will still be able to defeat him and are still a little too good, but he never really bombs out in the round of 32 anymore. The last time I think that ever happened was actually here, which is exactly a year ago, right? Like when he lost in the round of 32 against Nerdshow, but then he got a sweet revenge in that series just a couple months later when they met again in the final. Back then in Tours, it was, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he's just been so consistent since then. ShoWTimE, it's so cool to speak to this guy as well, because I do feel like he is that just next level of just confidence. He's physically fit. He's like the new generation of professional gamer where he's so focused on his play. And you talk to him and you're like, oh, what do you do day to day? You know, you got a girlfriend, you're hanging out, socializing. And he's like, I don't really have too much time for that, man. I practice really hard all day. You know, I'm out there winning tournaments, traveling the world, trying to make a name for myself. And boy, has he done that over the last couple of years.
So, are you telling me that my belly is holding me back from reaching 7K?
Yeah, man. You know, it's like the fat molecules, they get in your fingers, they can't move fast enough. It's science. I'll sell you a special protein powder drink for like $399 per month. You can subscribe to it. It's cool. It's my new business venture. I'll tell you all about it later.
X5 pick, right?
Yeah, man.
All right.
I have a new daily on why being
I might give it a go. But if I don't reach 7K MMR, do I get my money back?
We'll see about that one. It'll be somewhere in the fine print. We'll see, man. We'll see. Of course, here on map number 2, GuMiho is looking around with that Reaper. Did not see the probe, though. So ShoWTimE's going to be able to get over there and see what's going on. The Mothership Core coming across with that probe. Wants to do a little pylon rush on the natural. But if there's one player who's prepared for a pylon rush, it's GuMiho, because he really, really likes Cyclones. And he's already got one on the way.
Yeah, the Stargate follow-up, however, is decent news, at least against Cyclones. Phoenix is always pretty good, and an Oracle can also force the Cyclone to stay at home. Yeah. But yeah, this is not a real pylon rush, though. Like, he's not incredibly committed to it. I don't think he would ever let this pylon finish off. That would just be silly. Yeah. It's not even possible, Big.
It's a big difference between this and those one-base pylon rushes into Proxy Stargate. This is a macro play with a bit of calculated pressure thrown in there. But GuMiho's build perfectly set up to defend against this. And
3 Nexus. 3 Nexus.
3 minutes 30. That is... Oh, wow. That is fast.
After a Stargate as well. Incredibly fast. Not the first time I've seen it. That means it's probably going to be an Oracle. I think Harsem tried this once or twice as well. Wow, it's actually opening up a Phoenix and 3 minute 30 second 3 base. Wow. All right, Big. I've seen it all.
I saw, you know, Stats tried to make something like this work the other day against, I think it was... can't remember who, but he tried to make against TY, and TY's first drop just like didn't get spotted by the Phoenix, and he just massacred him. Yep. But these sort of builds, like, it really is that sort of thing. You need to be in the right position right when the first Terran pressure comes, because if you're not, you've got so few units, your economy just falls apart, and really you're relying on a very few elite units to shut down anything Terran throws your way.
But without an Oracle, As a Terran, you could truly make like 10 Marines and then just start running across the map, and I really don't think there's anything that can stop you other than a Photon Overcharge, but I don't think there's a pylon on that north side there. At least with an Oracle, you kind of force the Marines to shoot at the Oracle, and then the Adepts can do quite a bit of damage. But going straight into Phoenixes is crazy to me. That's incredibly crazy.
3 gateways are now finishing up. The Robo is on the way as well. And for now, GuMiho really happy to just sit back defensively. And he's doing a good job of building up his economy. He's not too far behind in workers just yet. But now with that 3rd Nexus finishing up, this is where ShoWTimE really aims to explode into that. And it looks like Twilight Council and Forge are on the way. Of course, with this Phoenix opening, you really are pretty much forced to go into +1 attack and the Glaives upgrade for your Adepts. Otherwise, you just don't have enough direct damage output in your army. And the combination of those meaty Adepts on the ground and the fast anti-air Phoenix in the air can shut down most Terran armies.
The moment he saw the Widow Mine, the Phoenixes, he immediately started to Widow Mines. I'm still kind of worried though, because I feel like we have seen this so many times in this tournament already. You get a whole bunch of Marines, and as soon as the first couple of mines are out, eventually you just make your way across the map, you start burrowing those mines, and they don't need all to shoot. If you have 5 mines, if only 3 of them shoot, that's often good enough already. This is a pretty strong Terran army, and ShoWTimE has absolutely nothing that can deal with this army right now. He truly has to rely on Photon Overcharge, which is why he's getting a pylon on the low ground.
Yeah, he needs to control this space with that Overcharge. Of course, he can pick up the Cyclone, he can shoot down the Medivacs, but it's the Stim Marines that are the real damage here. With Glaives not finished, with +1 not finished, the Adepts just aren't going to be ready.
And the +1 is almost ready for GuMiho. I think that's what GuMiho is waiting for. However, just now the Adept count is getting a little bit higher. GuMiho is setting a Marine forward. He's like, oh my god, you've had a Nexus there all along. He's not incredibly happy to see that. Now he's going to throw down a Scad.
He's going to dive in on top of this pylon. The Overcharge goes down, but not before it gets sniped. Cyclone gets picked up in that medevac. GuMiho being very careful. You got to remember, as scary as this army is, GuMiho just wants to slow down ShoWTimE. The worst thing you can do against this Phoenix Adept force is overextend, because if you lose a battle, you get crushed.
Yep, there's no way out, but he's going to distract him with a drop in the main base. Actually, somehow gets 8 workers, because he's also stimming forward at the third phase.
Wow, he's just outrunning. He's using the maneuverability of these stimmed units. The Adepts shade in, but there's not enough of them right there. And GuMiho, he will back off, but 16 probe kills. Oh, sick maneuver.
Oh no! Okay, for a second I thought his Widow Mine was going to shoot as well, and Phoenixes like to clump up. This is nice for ShoWTimE as he's getting 2 mines there, but losing 16 workers is pretty deadly. At least he's still alive, and he does have his 3 Nexi. But I'm kind of worried, Pig. This is more of the same of what we've seen before with Phoenix Adept against world-class Terran players.
I think ShoWTimE now is forced into a very hard decision. He has 2 choices. You probe up a little bit, but don't really take gases on your 3rd. You make a bunch more gateways, and you just mass Adept Phoenix, and you try to kill GuMiho. You either do that, or you try to just defend, take a 4th, make the slowest Colossi or Disruptor transition of all time. He's got to do something. For now, he's going to go for a little bit of harassment. Does get a Widow Mine. That's a nice pickup.
Actually, he's got so many mines already throughout the entirety of this game, but the Liberator is picking off a couple of probes as well on the other side. 5 mines have gone down. I don't think a single one of them shot, actually. I can't remember a single mine shot.
And the Phoenix aren't coming home. Finally, ShoWTimE sends them home, but this is some fortuitous timing from GuMiho. It's almost as if he knew the Phoenix were going to be across the map. Maybe he even waited with that Liberator for the moment he saw the Phoenix go in, and now he denies so much mining time. GuMiho, he's just finding the weak points in ShoWTimE's armor right now.
It's still anybody's game, because you could say maybe with an unfortunate Widow Mine hit where it does a little bit of friendly fire or a perfect shade on top of a couple of units. A little bit of War Prism harassment as well. The Dream is still alive for the German Protoss, who seems like he wants to shade towards his 3rd base too. But there are mines though, so he has to be incredibly careful. Obviously there's no observer. Well, there is one observer. I don't know where it is though.
That is a lot of Adepts with +1. ShoWTimE's chosen the option to go all in here. He needs to do damage, and he's starting to do it. There's no Marauders in front of these Marines. There's nothing to soak up the damage, and only a single Widow Mine down here.
The Orbital is actually taking a lot of damage.
Wow.
GuMiho has to repair it, and he does in the end, but that's still so many Adepts.
This is a huge army. There's so much bio in the main base. His depot's raised. GuMiho! Oh no, it's not even raised, but he's just not bringing it to the low ground. He's so afraid of this force right now, and ShoWTimE's getting some sick damage done.
I think he was really respecting the shade or a potential not a massive War Prism arrest, and he just didn't want to have to worry about that. With the Phoenixes as well, obviously just leaving a couple of units behind is not going to be enough. That mine does get picked off as well.
ShoWTimE so quick to transition. As soon as he gets an advantage, we saw earlier in this tournament, a lot of Protoss players just headbutt at this stage and throw their advantage away, but ShoWTimE, he's got the second robo, he's got the robotic support bay, so he can go into Colossi and Disruptors, he's got extra upgrades, gases going down. Beautiful transition here from ShoWTimE.
Oh, this War Prism, however, though, seems to be in a lot of trouble. Will he be able to get it out? No, he does
not quite. Oh my gosh, the Phoenix though, gonna find a little bit of damage. These Phoenix count a little bit higher than we see a lot of Protoss players build it up to, but I'm really liking it. Still 8 Phoenix alive. And yeah, GuMiho actually struggling quite a bit now. I mean, GuMiho's army, he's got some technical units still. I mean, how many Liberators and Widow Mines has he got right now? It's got 2 Liberators, 4 Widow Mines. If that count gets a little bit higher, that's a very scary frontal army. But I think GuMiho needs to counter push before Colossi get out with range. Once he gets 2 or 3 Colossi with the range upgrade, I think ShoWTimE is almost untouchable.
Yep, it's going to be a completely different battle from that point on, as Blink is on the way now as well. All these Phoenixes are obviously going to help quite a bit against Liberators, and he could still use it to pick off a couple of additional SCVs, which is obviously what ShoWTimE is looking for here, and finds another small opening. Gets 3 SCVs, will he react in time though against the mine drop?
Oh, massive probe hit. 7 probes do go down. Not the end of the world, but a good bit of damage as another worker does go down to these Phoenix.
This always happens. The moment there's a mine drop on the other side of the map, suddenly GuMiho made his way to the other side of the map as well. And this forward base will absolutely get cancelled. There is no saving it. Will the Colossus be out in time, Big?
There's one Guardian Shield, but that's it. There's so little anti-air here. The Phoenix aren't home yet. The Liberators are doing massive damage. They're focus firing on the Colossi. One Colossi does fall. The other one doing great damage. The Adepts dishing out the hurt. The Stalkers and the Phoenix shut down the Liberators. ShoWTimE hangs on.
Yeah, not the worst fight, I think. He used the Phoenixes immediately to lift as many units as he could have, which was interesting because I think he could have picked off maybe the second Liberator, and then perhaps he was able to save one of those Colossus, but still a decent fight. It's a very close, fun fight, though. Fun game.
It's really important for ShoWTimE to secure that 4th base. He doesn't have the advantage of mules. So as his main base mines out, as his natural starts to run dry, ShoWTimE will need those fresh mineral patches, whereas GuMiho can stack all of his income on whatever his newest base is, which is why we can see, you know, the income disparity was a little bit higher there. Of course, it's kind of hard to read into that graph because Terran have mules, so he'll drop a few mules, he'll go way up. They'll run out, he'll go way down. So it's always a little bit awkward looking at the income whenever you've got a Terran player in the game.
Second starport being added during all of this, and it's throwing down the armory as well. I believe that's going to be a tech lab. What is he adding a tech lab? Huh.
I'm still so impressed that ShoWTimE has managed to salvage the game to this position. I really thought after taking those early probe losses, he was down in the dumps, but that Phoenix Adept attack was really well orchestrated. And now ShoWTimE finds himself in that macro game that he enjoys so much. He's got his +2 attack upgrade on the way. Has the 2-2 started at all? I don't think so for Terran. No armory even on the way, I don't think.
Yeah, it's just finished up.
Okay, it's just finished. So he's got to start that 2-2 upgrades. Otherwise, he will fall behind. Second Forge is finishing up here for ShoWTimE. And ShoWTimE's even getting out of the map with 4 Colossi.
Yeah, he has to be careful though that he doesn't overcommit. This is not something you want to step into. That's a lot of freedom right there. And multiple Vikings, 4 Vikings being produced at once. I like this setup a lot from GuMiho. I think the sensor tower also helps him a lot from not taking too much damage. I would like to see ShoWTimE just transition into getting some splash damage and trying to buy time. I don't think he has to be the aggressor here, Pig, and I don't think he can be the aggressor here.
Lots and lots of Vikings starting to come out of those reacted starports. I do like ShoWTimE threatening here, but I agree, you can't get over-eager. Trades a Stalker for a Viking. Not a bad one. But the Widow Mine, it's a nice little hit off there. He's very short on detection right now, but ShoWTimE finally beginning that disruptor transition after going up to a 5th Colossi. Wow.
Yeah, he's getting a whole bunch of them. I don't really mind it because he's forcing more Vikings out. That means less Liberators. It means on the ground perhaps he can do something.
Oh,
these Colossus
wow.
getting some really big hits.
The Widow Mines are getting shredded down. Another one does get a good hit on the Stalkers, but the Stalkers have been so good at focus firing the Vikings that count is also getting a little bit low. This Liberator facing in the wrong direction now. I think ShoWTimE might actually have found the right position. All of GuMiho's bio is so choked up. He has to lift the command center. The SCVs are pulled. This is it. It's all or nothing for GuMiho. Can he break this Protoss army?
Still seems like there's a lot of firepower in this Terran army though, even though the Colossus are doing a good job, but a couple of them have gone down already. I still kind of like this for GuMiho because it's mostly Stalkers left.
Oh, nice. Colossi lives to keep them alive a little bit longer. More Adept Warpins have come into the fray. More and more Adepts warping in, but GuMiho, it looks like he's going to be able to maybe just barely break through. He's got so much medevac energy. ShoWTimE's army is routed. He has to pull back. He killed a lot of workers though, Roddy.
Yeah, he did kill a lot of workers, but he had multiple slow warp-ins during that battle because he was actually warping in his pylon, not in the little warp prism. So he lost a little bit of potential there, but he has a couple of disruptors. GuMiho has to be incredibly careful. I believe this is GuMiho's game right now. Obviously, he can't afford to lose too many SCVs more, but he has to make sure that he doesn't run into a massive disruptor hit, because if that happens, GuMiho is going to be in a world of trouble.
And this is good. Good zoning here by ShoWTimE. Disruptor gets, I think that was a single unit. I'm not even sure if it got anything actually. I saw some blood on the ground, but could have just been the Colossi before that. This depth counter not doing too much. For now, ShoWTimE just wants to buy a little bit of time. I'm not sure if he has any observers out right now. They may have gone down in that last battle.
Now his 2-2 upgrades have finished up as well. It wasn't totally ready yet for the previous fight, so perhaps the next fight will be a tiny bit better. I think this is good for ShoWTimE because he survived the counterattack. I mean, he lost the majority of his units. He did do a lot of economic damage, but of course, you know, the aftermath of that is always that the Terran army is quite a bit bigger. You're looking at a 30, 40, 50 army supply advantage. But ShoWTimE survived that storm. He survived the wave. Well, it wasn't much of a storm. It was more like a breeze. Like, hey, I've got a Terran army. Then he ran back. So now you're kind of going to start liking it for a German Protoss.
Yeah, I mean, the liftoffs here on the command centers for GuMiho is what's keeping him in the game economically, able to secure a new 4th base by lifting his natural over there. ShoWTimE will have to move out to a 5th base, and because he doesn't really have all the pieces of an elite army, it's going to be very hard for him to spread across and cover so many bases from these drops all at once.
It's a shame that this Adept was not paying attention, because I think he would have been able to kill multiple SCVs there. In the end, does not get a single one.
He did clean up the drop on his oh, it does get out of there, but yeah, he was distracted defending that drop up there. ShoWTimE has got his Colossi back up. He's got Disruptors. He's very focused on this army. He doesn't want Storm this game. He doesn't want to go up to any higher tech like Carriers or Tempest or anything crazy like that. It's all about the Stalker, Colossi, Disruptor. This is the army we have seen him use so well in the past, and he's going to add the DT Shrine, add more Disruptors. He's going to push out. He wants to be the aggressor and abuse the range of the Colossi and Disruptors.
I'd like to see him send a few more Adepts to the north side of this map. Well, that's unfortunate timing on this 5th base over here for ShoWTimE. As a couple of Marauders will probably be able to deny it with relative ease. I think he did... Whoa! No cancel. I think he did split off a couple of Adepts, so I think that base is completely exposed. There's nothing here for GuMiho, and these Adepts do have upgrades, so they can 2-shot workers.
Yeah, this is important. He needs to start dealing damage like this. GuMiho needs to put the pressure back. You know, ShoWTimE needs to put the pressure on GuMiho, but GuMiho also doing the same. ShoWTimE struggling a little bit to maintain that frontal pressure. He wants to put all his APM into focusing there and getting sort of free trades with his Stalker, Disruptor, Colossi Micro. Wow. Nice! Good blink there from ShoWTimE.
Yep, he has 3-3 on the way as well. +3 attack has started for GuMiho. Any observers on the south side of the map? I believe not. What is left in the main base of ShoWTimE? Does he have anything to deal with this massive drop? Well, he's got a field of pylons, Pick.
Mothership Core is there with a lot of energy. Looks like, oh, GuMiho might just drop on the south and come in on that 4th base on the low ground, which could be very effective. ShoWTimE wants to put the pressure on, and that drop is going to force a lot of his APM back home.
Yep, once again sending a couple of shades towards that 4th base of GuMiho. It should still be relatively exposed. Yes,
everything's about to get crazy. Oh, the overcharge, all 4 overcharges surrounding this army. A lot of damage going down, and ShoWTimE, he just jumps on the opportunity. GuMiho, he's actually going for the base trade. He doesn't think he can fight this army front on. ShoWTimE respects the Terran strength in that base trade. He goes home. No, he turns around. He's going back for the fight.
He does have Dark Templars, though, and Dark Templars could be massive. There aren't that many orbital commands, so they should be able to help out a little bit, but we know what they always say, Pick. Never base trade a Terran. Let's see how this plays out for ShoWTimE.
Yeah, how many DTs does he have? He's got 3 DTs out on the map right now. Disruptor does walk to its death. Where are those Stalkers? They're all going to the third base, so it looks like ShoWTimE's just going to clear out the natural and this third or fourth, whatever you want to call it up there. DTs are going to start going in one at a time. If these orbitals go down, there's going to be no scans. Those DTs will eventually win this base trade.
What is important is that ShoWTimE at least mined enough money to rebuild the Nexus if he truly has to. He's going to blink forward and get the Liberators. Get the Vikings there as well. Actually end up losing quite a few Stalkers though in the process.
A little bit sloppy.
That's so many Liberators. They were so stacked. Holy hell, how many did he have there?
I think it was just 2, but they were right on top of each other, and he kept targeting the Vikings first, and then he targeted one Liberator and then swapped to the other Liberator. Oh, the Widow Mine's killing even more of these Stalkers. GuMiho's definitely going to get buildings out of there, but his economy is completely gone.
He can't scan at the moment. He has to land his orbital to scan against the DT, and that's a brilliant move there by ShoWTimE.
How many DTs are left? Is that the last one? No, there's 4
Oh my
DTs.
god!
Oh!
The meat grinder. Okay, but so
my
GuMiho really wants to get. Oh no, ShoWTimE spent his money. No, no. Wait, does he have a Stargate? No. Yeah, he does have a Stargate. He needs to keep the Stargate alive. He could repower it, and then he could still build an air unit.
A single Phoenix. He has enough gas for a single Phoenix.
Oh.
Yeah. Otherwise, he will not be able to win the draw situation. Yep. Those DTs can guard that for the moment. ShoWTimE going to start cleaning things up with these Stalkers. He's definitely shut down GuMiho's ability to fight on the ground. But GuMiho, if he can just hide buildings in the south...
No, GuMiho wants to kill the Stargate. GuMiho knows that he needs to kill the Stargate because he knows that a couple of probes made it out there. There you go.
You got to stay there, ShoWTimE. You need to guard. Oh,
no.
ShoWTimE. He's not protecting the Stargate.
If he loses the Stargate, I think that's it.
Oh, I think he's messed up.
Oh my god.
The Stargate goes down. ShoWTimE, in a moment of inattention, didn't identify how important that was.
Bro, oh my god. He knows it immediately. Wow.
Oh my gosh. ShoWTimE there. A little bit frustrated.
Oh my god. Inches away from winning this best of 3. Instead, we are going to game 3. Well, it's still 1-0 for ShoWTimE. Pick. Can't believe it. And he knows it. Like within 0.1 second, he said draw.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of those moments where he was like just going, oh, let's F2, you know, grab select all army, move them over to just in a moment, just wanting to grab an individual unit to chase after a building, and it didn't quite click. And then he almost immediately was like, oh wait, that pulled those units. Whoops, send those back. And in that split second, GuMiho was like, whoa, dove in and killed it.
You gotta give kudos to GuMiho there as well. If you talk about being decisive and clutch, like he had one opportunity there to somehow turn that game into a draw, and he did it. The age-old rule, never base trade a Terra, and he knows it. You know it, Pick. Let's see if the boys at the desk know it as well.
Time with a smile on his face there because he knows what he just done. Oh, that has to be hurt.
He became a meme on Twitter, probably.
Yeah. Yes, I think so.
ShoWTimE played so well. They both play so well. Like, these games are incredible. Every single series of ShoWTimE is like an actual show. He's living up to his name.
And the thing is, don't base trade a Terran, but he was doing it so well, warping in 5 DTs right before the Dark Shrine goes down, targeting the orbitals immediately. Yeah. Great moves.
I was stood here just as the Stargate's going down, going, no, don't kill the Stargate.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes when you're playing against a Terran. So it's going to be a rematch here, obviously. Todd, I think you do have updates for us while that was going on, correct?
Yes, innovation in Game 2 against Mana. He went for, again, a lot of aggression. There was this one attack that he went for where a big disruptor shot hit him. I think Mana was playing for a big attack because he made a ton of gateways with the depths, and he was going disruptors. And instead of taking a third base, he completely skipped on that for the longest time. Innovation was the one to attack first, but somehow Mana survived, but still took a fair bit of damage. So then we reached this point in the game, which I think was one of the turning points. Let's jump into the replay here, and I'll show you guys. Innovation was still... He was doing pretty good. He was ahead in supply. And Mana, this is the time where he takes the third base. He has 2 observers, one here to defend against the Widow Mines whenever there is an attack or a drop, and one here to spot the third base of Innovation. So what does he not have? Vision on the map. So what does he do is like, he's probably going to attack my third base and get it cancelled because that's usually what Terrans do. He goes there and waits for the drop to come, and then the biggest nightmare of every single Protoss happens. You hear the scan, it's already too late. Sets up here. He uses one of charge, but the pylon dies instantly, and then from there, so little mining already. Like his income will go down very, very rapidly from not mining from this base. Even the defense is very chaotic. One of the medivacs, escapes with some more units. Cleaning this up is tricky. More units will die there. And from there, Mana was just too far behind to recover. Innovation took a third base, took a fourth base. The machine was enabled and was not going to be stopped anytime soon. Another 2-0 for Innovation.
Thank you very much. I hear that we are getting words that we do have game number 2, the rematch after the draw, ready for our series. So take it away, casters.
Second time lucky. We're going to be going back into the second game of the best of 3 between ShoWTimE and GuMiho. This man here had victory within his grasp, but it just barely slipped him by. GuMiho with such a decisive move to force the draw.
What is it with me, casting, and PvT draws? I feel like this happens more to me than almost anybody else.
Casting the Pult Strange game.
Yeah,
that was
I know there's like 1 or 2 more within the last like 12 months, but they really are very, very rare. And it shouldn't have happened here, but kudos to GuMiho for somehow staying alive. Because that wasn't easy. It really felt like he was almost defeated, and losing this best of 3 would be massive. For this man, spawning on the right bottom side of Newkirk Precinct one more time, he's representing SciStorm Gaming. It's GuMiho.
And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom left-hand side of Newkirk Precinct. It is ShoWTimE.
Seemed to take it relatively well, though. I mean, he seemed like a tiny bit embarrassed, right? Like the way he was sitting there with his hands behind his head and a cheeky smile on his face. But he didn't seem incredibly frustrated or very upset. Perhaps he feels like, well, I've been in a good position multiple times now against this man. I think I can do it again.
And that's really cool to see that confidence. You know, there's a lot of times I talk to a player before they come into a tournament. There's a few beasts like Innovation and Dark in their group. I speak to ShoWTimE and I'm like, hey man, how you feeling? Easy group, right? You know, a bit of a joke, and he just looks at you straight in the eyes and is like, yeah, like I'm pretty confident. Like it's actually pretty easy. He's like, there's a Zerg in my group, so it's a free win. I'm like, wait, who's that Zerg? And that's Dark. Oh my god, this guy is confident. Like he is really, really on fire. He knows his abilities, and so he doesn't really get thrown off, and that really is one of the secrets to his success. It was a slow build-up for many years of no real breakout performances, and now he is at the top of his game ever since the start of last year.
Yep. It started all the way back, of course, in the Meisterschaft, where he was able to become a German champion a couple of times. One of the very first times that I was super impressed with ShoWTimE was WCS 2015 Season 1. Back then when we were in Porsche, where he made it to the quarterfinals. He played against Kane, our Canadian Zerg.
Oh, yeah.
We all haven't heard in a while. And he played Phoenix +1 with Charge, and I was in love. I was like, my man, you know, I love that playstyle. 2015, it sounds kind of recent, but that's already over 2 years ago.
Yeah, I played him in that tournament. That's how long ago that was.
Yeah, good times, good times. And then the rest of 2015 was a little slow, but ever since Legacy came out, ShoWTimE has been the Protoss in Europe.
Oh yeah. ShoWTimE here, respecting the fact that he's playing GuMiho. He's checking everywhere for proxies because it's GuMiho. And GuMiho, if you guys have, you know, watched the streams like Ruff or someone like this who does crazy Terran builds, always wants to try to do something creative, float barracks or factories into your base. GuMiho, I mean, we saw him try to go one base Banshee in that very first map. He is prone to doing the craziness.
Yeah, it's going to be another Stargate game over here from ShoWTimE. I wonder if he wants to go up to 3 bases as quickly as he went in that previous game. It's amazing that he survived for as long as he did, considering the fact that he lost so many probes right there against one drop into the main that was kind of used as a distraction maneuver, unless, you know, the Protoss wouldn't react, and obviously it's a lot more than that. He ended up losing 16, 17 workers, and we all thought ShoWTimE was in a little bit of trouble.
Found the Widow Mine pickups, didn't he? I think that was really key.
Yeah, so many. The first 5 mines that died, not a single shot went off.
Yeah. It was pretty massive. Of course, a much more standard opening from GuMiho than what we've seen in some of his games. Just a medevac, a lot of Widow Mines, Marines coming on out here. And it is going to be straight into Phoenix against ShoWTimE here. I sometimes do actually call ShoWTimE like the European innovation, because he is one of these guys who has such confidence in his builds. Once he shows it in one game, he doesn't feel pressure to change it the next game because he loves solid play.
This seems like a good setup though against this drop. He has 3 adapts. First Phoenix is only 4 adapts now, and obviously he has
he's going to miss the drop though.
It's okay. Even if the drop commits, he's got Photon Overcharge, and I think very close to 2 Photon Overcharge. I hope he overcharges bottom pylon. That would absolutely be the right choice. Does not get the kill though. Actually, he had 2 Photon Overcharges. He is able to kill the second probe, Widowmine, which is something. Marines will be unloaded in the natural, but the Adept should be able to take care of it.
Good focus fire from GuMiho. Gets 2 probes, but is going to take a lot of damage on that medevac. Is that enough damage, Roddy?
No, I think whenever you open up like this as a Terran, you hope for a tiny bit more. But don't forget that this one Widowmine is still alive, so now it's starting to rack up, right? It could be 3 probes soon. It's a lot of lost mining time. So at first I wasn't that impressed.
Oh, get it! Oh.
Look at this probe, what a hero! That probe is the Hurt Locker right there.
Man.
You've seen the Hurt Locker, right?
The Hurt Locker?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you have never seen it?
No.
That's that probe right there. If you watch the movie then.
Alright, I'll have to check it out, man.
It's a good movie.
I'm sorry, I hate it when I like reference something. The person's just like, nope, haven't seen that.
It's
I got no
okay,
idea what
man.
you're talking about.
I haven't watched Lord of the Rings or the original Star Wars, so it's all good.
You haven't watched the original Star Wars?
No, I watched The Phantom Menace and it was so good I didn't want to ruin that experience.
Yeah, I can feel that experience. That actually makes perfect sense. Anyways, ShoWTimE is going to be going into Adept Phoenix.
Oh, there's a Widowmine again. I don't know how that Widowmine sneaked into the main base, but there is a Widowmine that did shoot. It's very important that ShoWTimE takes care of it. I think he's building one more observer. Yes, he is. Because if that one would have shot one more time, then it would have been very ugly. Can we take a look at the amount of mines that died in this game? Is it 4 right now? Is it 3?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, now this is very solid for ShoWTimE. He lost 5 probes against 4 mines. I lose 7 probes against 1 mine, Crick. So this is very good, I think. What is his build by GuMiho? It's just massive.
Twilight is on the way. Oh yeah, this is, you know when you're playing on ladder and someone just like keeps going with mines, this is that sort of cheeky build where you can defend one wave of Widow Mines, you can defend the next, but then there's more and more Widow Mines. And if you think about it, he knows he's up against Adept Phoenix. This makes sense. Not only are they great for those counterattacks and drops, but he's also got that massive firepower in the direct engagements as well.
Yeah, I think it's one of these things that makes a lot of sense on paper, but this Marine count is obviously going to be a little bit lower. You don't want to lose the Oracle here, ShoWTimE. Barely survives.
It's really important with this style because you don't want to, you don't have a lot of gas for observers. You want to be able to tag their army. With that revelation, nice push coming out of GuMiho. Remember, last time he did this sort of push, he hung around for a while, and because he was distracting ShoWTimE for so long, a drop pulled into the main base while this force sprinted into the third, and that was when he killed the probe line. ShoWTimE, no doubt, is going to have that on his mind.
Yeah, and the Phoenix is out of position. Sick mind games here by GuMiho. I love it. He's like, yeah, he knows what I did in the last game. He's probably expecting the same. Well, surprise, surprise. I'm going to bring everything here. There is a double drop heading to the main as well.
Good focus fire in the Widowmine from ShoWTimE to start things off.
I'm so surprised by the amount of units that GuMiho has. It feels like he's been losing so many, but he still has so much.
And the drops go in. The Phoenix don't see them. Just as the Phoenix leave the base, the double drop hits the main. This is disastrous for ShoWTimE. GuMiho finds the opening here, finds the weak point. ShoWTimE comes in, tries to snipe the Widow Mines, but there's just too much damage output. He's going to have to pull the probes away.
Yeah, this is starting to look quite bad. I really felt that ShoWTimE was playing a decent early game, but GuMiho out of nowhere shows up with medevac number 4 and 5. That's a good shade though, right on top of the Marines.
Nice.
Where the mine's at.
Phoenix join up with that, but they're not going to chase it down. They got to get in here. Oh, that Nexus is going to go down.
It's not just the Nexus as well. Everything else is on power. There is 0 production right now for our German Protoss. The Phoenix should be able to at least kill this one medevac and maybe kill the second one as well and lift those Marines. But it's safe to say that this drop was incredibly worth it.
Yeah, ShoWTimE is way down right now. He's still got 50 probes alive, but only 2 Nexi. All of his production is handicapped. GuMiho finds that weakness and inflicts what really is pretty much mortal damage. I don't even know if there's any detection to get rid of these Widow Mines.
I think there's a couple of observers out there, but a little bit out of position. I don't think it truly matters though. Once a Terran drop does this much damage against this Protoss playstyle, that's where it becomes very hard. That final probe goes down as well. There's still another mine over here in the main base. Sick macro by GuMiho. I have no other words to put it. I really felt that ShoWTimE's defense was good. I thought it was solid. Out of nowhere, he just shows up with medevac 4 and 5 loaded with Marines, with Widow Mines as well.
That's one of the strengths on this map. You know, that third base from ShoWTimE, it's further for a frontal push to hit, but it's really spread apart. If you can find that weakness, you You can definitely do well there. These Widow Mines just continuing to damage and kill units. ShoWTimE is down 50 supply right now. Here comes the Doom push. Marines, Marauders, Widow Mines, and Medevacs against just a little ball of Adepts.
Yeah, this is going to be incredibly difficult. We need a miracle if you are a Protoss player. A couple of mines do get lifted. Well done. Wow, that's a lot of friendly fire actually of this one mine. At least the second mine is not a trader mine. I thought ShoWTimE was going to die here, but this one mine keeps ShoWTimE alive.
I mean, a fortuitous mine hit there does elongate this game. Does make it go for a little bit longer, but GuMiho's got another army coming across this map. He's got plenty of medevac energy. He can kite this for days. ShoWTimE way down on economy. He can't afford these trades.
Yeah, and he's also down in upgrades, and it makes it really hard with Adept Phoenix to win these fights against Bio, especially with mines as well. If you are down in upgrades, and that's currently the case, but perhaps another trader mine can keep the German Protoss alive. Protoss units won't do it, but perhaps the Terran units will.
Still 2 Widow Mines in the main base, continuing to kill probes. ShoWTimE, he just wasn't able to ever clean up this aggression in the main. Now a drop coming in. GuMiho with decisive play in the rematch. Looks like he's going to be able to close it out.
With these Marauders, they're soaking up damage for days. Marines stay alive. One of the Marauders do finally get lifted, but these Marauders just not dying. Everything is full on HP. The only thing that does damage here to this Terran army are the Widow Mines. But fortunately for GuMiho, he doesn't have that many anymore, because the Protoss units absolutely won't kill him over here, Pig.
Trader Mines not going to be enough to save the day today. Adept's just going to be running around, trying to inflict as much pain on the SCVs as possible. ShoWTimE knew that he needed to do something drastic, but for now, he's just swallowing defeat.
I feel like right now, ShoWTimE is the one who's going to fight the base trade. He's like, well, you know, it worked for GuMiho.
He's just sitting there clicking lift on the Nexus. He's like, where's the button?
Yeah.
Where's the lift button?
Come on, take off. It's like that graphic of the Spodek arena taking off. Did you see that graphic?
No, I didn't actually.
That's very cool. ShoWTimE knows that it's over. GG, GuMiho evens up this series. You see that that was a huge sigh of relief for GuMiho as well. Just pick the games. The series today are ridiculous. I really feel like this day might just never end.
Yeah.
We'll literally be here till tomorrow morning, and then we're going to kick off the round of 12.
Yeah, yesterday after the format, I was like, this format's not too long. Like, we go through 2 groups. This is cool. And then today it's like 2-1, super close series. Now we've got rematched series that's going to be a 2-1, whichever way it ends up going. We've got players like Innovation and Dark in here who, no doubt, when they're on the brink of being knocked out or making it through, they're going to be just playing their hearts out for us. And ShoWTimE there, a little bit rattled after that game.
Still impressed by that build from GuMiho. Our next map is going to be played on Honor Grounds. That is a map where you could potentially play some Phoenix Adept as well. I definitely think it's very useful to have a Stargate on this map. We'll see though. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm still on the fence about this whole Phoenix Adept pick. Like, it's something that's been around for a long time, and you know me, like, I am a big Phoenix lover. I love Phoenix in PvP, I love Phoenix in PvZ, but I think against these world-class Terrans, I think it's really hard to pull off, especially if they know it's coming.
You know, Honor Grounds is an interesting map. You get an in-base expansion, so it's very powerful both for some very cheesy players to take advantage of people being greedy, but more likely you're just going to see big macro plays. But in terms of Phoenixes or not out of ShoWTimE, really, you've got to think about that back door, getting Doom dropped in there. Obviously, Phoenix is going to help you against that. But really, ShoWTimE, when I think of the powerful styles that he's so solid with, I do think of a lot of those just straight to Colossus, rock solid, take 3 bases, and just defend.
Or just like a cheeky Stargate for that good old double Oracle, right? Where you just like fly in every now and then, you get a couple of workers, but then you still rush up to those Colossus. Like, I totally agree with you. We're on the same page here, Pig.
Lots of options for these players as they go into game number 3. It is the deciding match. And the Terran player spawning in the top right-hand side of Honor Grounds, it is GuMiho.
And over here on the left top side of Honor Grounds, we're looking at the main base of the man that didn't look too shaken up after the draw, but perhaps right now he is kind of feeling the nerves. Give it up for ShoWTimE.
Representing Armor Team.
Former Millennium. You remember the team he was on before? before Millennium. Was it ESC?
He was on ESC, right?
Yeah.
For a long time, ESC
With
ShoWTimE.
the white and red T-shirt, right?
Yeah, I believe that was it. With these spawning locations, I think this is not too bad for ShoWTimE. I think it's a little bit more awkward if your natural is facing towards the Terran and they can kind of drop in there and then rotate to a frontal push. Whereas here, for GuMiho, when he's pushing towards the frontal base of ShoWTimE, if he wants to pick up, he needs to kind of go around the army. So that watchtower, if ShoWTimE can hang on to that, it gives him a really good frontal staging point for any sort of defense.
No, you're right. If you were a Protoss and you would have spawned, let's say, at the right bottom side of this map right now, then I think if they go CC first and they open up with Marines, it got so rough the moment they have 2 medevacs, because you need to protect your turret base on the low ground, but if they pick up somewhere halfway down and they fly into your natural immediately, the game can just end, because it's a long distance, you know, for like 3 bases to the back of your natural. It just becomes very hard. I played against Beyond and I died against the first 60 Marines. It was very sad.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of my games against Beyond as well.
Well, you know, Sue asked about Beyond what he felt about playing against us. And
Oh yeah, she mentioned.
yeah, and he said that most of the casts are really bad. He's like, they're all actually really bad. Except for Pig. Pig is putting up a decent fight, but the other guys, they're really bad. They'll never take a game off me. I was like, God, this guy, he has no mercy at all. Not only did he 8-0'd me, he just has to rub it in.
Well, thank God he remembers that one time I made the game last longer than 5 minutes at the end of his 12-hour stream, where he's played 300 games in a row and is barely watching the screen. All right. Good to know. Beyond respects that.
It's going to be another Stargate for ShoWTimE over here on the left top side.
And another Cyclone here for GuMiho. I really like what ShoWTimE did. By the way, he was luring the SCV of GuMiho away from his base, because when that SCV wants to go scout and it just sees your probe going one direction, it's always going to follow the probe, saying, well, you want to bring that probe home. I'm going to follow that, assume that's the direction your base is. And as a result, the Reaper takes forever to get across the map. Oh, doesn't get a second shot off there. Little slight.
Second adapt is here as well to save the day. It's some smart pathing. He should be able to get it.
Spiked Frisbee in the back of your jetpack. You're getting out of there. The Reaper goes down. Didn't spot the Stargate. That's the most important thing there. GuMiho has no idea about what the tech is. Is he going to play it safe against this? I don't know. There's already an Oracle on the way. Do we have a Widow Mine in position in that natural yet?
Not yet, and we actually have no Widow Mine on production either. I mean, GuMiho is definitely the type of Terran that likes to be aggressive as well. Is he gonna go for a Banshee again?
Cyclone is moving. It's probably a Raven, I think.
Okay.
Cyclone's moving in to cover that natural with a few Marines. Oracle's actually gonna bypass. Oh, if it can dodge the Cyclone's vision, no! Comes in on a very unfortunate angle, spotted immediately. Great defense so far by GuMiho.
Would have been crazy if he would have done that again after that very unsuccessful game #1, but obviously that was a little different. There was no CC back then.
Yeah.
The Ravens are very popular among Terran players. They're great against Stalkers. They're actually pretty decent against Phoenixes as well, because they absorb quite a few shots of that. And most importantly, they make it hard for the Protoss army to just always see what you're doing, because every Protoss loves to just put an observer everywhere and not have to worry about it. Well, with Ravens, you do have to worry about your observers, otherwise you just keep on losing them.
It's actually very fortunate that there was an Oracle built first for ShoWTimE, because if you see this Raven ahead of time and then you have Revelation, you don't need to rely as much on observers, and you can also be a lot more careful with your observers for that Raven. So I think as far as builds go, even though ShoWTimE hasn't done direct damage with his Oracle, I think he's looking really good. He's got a third Nexus up, but at the same time, GuMiho, he's also gearing up. So both players looking like they just want to kind of head straight to the macro game.
Those pushes are still very intimidating to deal with, though, even though there is indeed a turret CC being thrown down, double eBay as well. But let's say by the time that GuMiho is like, all right, I'm happy with my army right now. I've got 4 medevacs, I've got a whole bunch of Marines with 1-1 upgrades, combat shield and stim, and then he has 2 PDDs as well.
Oh yeah,
that would be really hard to deal with Phoenix Adapt.
Of course, also the option of 4 auto turrets going down in front.
I don't know what is scarier, like one of the two, maybe a mixture of both, maybe 1 PDD and 2 auto turrets.
Yeah, I mean each auto turret is like 6 Marines or something, so it's pretty beastly. The Widow Mine does get a nice shot off there. The Phoenix count is whittled down a little bit. Just 3 Phoenix and an Oracle. We've got Glaives, Adepts, And a faster Colossus transition this time. This is a lot different to that Mass Phoenix Adept play. I love this adjustment. Did ShoWTimE see the third command center in the double E bay?
I don't think he saw that.
If he saw that, it makes sense as a response. Yeah, and he saw the engineering bays behind the natural as well. So that's a great read. He's like, oh, you're just going to macro up. You're just going to turtle in your base. Guess what? I'm not going to just mass Adepts and headbutt. I'm going to go up to high tech myself. So ShoWTimE always so quick to react.
Yeah, he's making the correct calls, but there's still going to be some very scary minutes soon ahead of ShoWTimE, though, when that army of GuMiho is getting a lot bigger, and that's when he wants to be aggressive. And of course, there could be a Colossus out by then, maybe even Thermal Lens, but it won't be that super steady force that you're looking for as a Protoss player. GuMiho throws down the scan, he's like, all right, I know what I have to destroy.
Yeah, he sees the gases on that third, sees it's fully saturated. He says, okay, I can safely take my third base. There's no all-ins coming my way. And at the same time, he probably feels a bit of an itch to get over to the Protoss side of the map before that third fully kicks into an absolutely massive high-tech Protoss force.
+1 is about to finish up for ShoWTimE, as a couple of additional gates have finished up as well. Look at GuMiho immediately throwing down the armory too, so he will have quick access to two. He's in for the long haul in this one.
Yeah, second forge on the way here for ShoWTimE, as well as a couple of cannons. We have got a macro game on our hands, and I do love to see this this set of reactions. You know, GuMiho respecting the mobility of the Adept Phoenix, and ShoWTimE so quick to just transition out of it.
And the army supply advantage is not massive for GuMiho, so with a Guardian Shield, that's an excellent revelation. Gets pretty much everything. Could decide to lift the mines as well. I actually think he can shade on top of that.
Yeah, that would actually be beautiful.
Why wouldn't you do that?
There's no medevacs here right now.
Yeah.
This is like a...
Oh, there is a drop. It's a distraction as well. There's a drop in the back.
Oh, auto turrets, but overcharge and cannons get rid of it.
So
The Raven goes down as well.
Wow, that's sloppy by GuMiho.
Oh, wow, some Widow Mines getting picked up. This is looking pretty nice for ShoWTimE suddenly. The aggression for GuMiho not getting anything done. I think ShoWTimE's in a very strong position.
Yep. Wow, that's a good old Cassicars right there, as on Widow Mine does connect with one of the Phoenixes, but losing the Raven just like that, I'm actually kind of surprised that he was willing to give it away that easily. Must have flown it into a cannon or something, or maybe one Phoenix chased it down.
Well, it definitely had to go deep to get all the way on the back of there.
I mean, look at the minimap, so it took a massive south route.
Yeah, you could actually see that that path where it cleared the fog of war. That's really funny.
Another Widow Mine drop in the back of the main.
You can't leave. You are not going anywhere. It's going to go down. ShoWTimE will lift this Widow Mine as it drops out. He will. There we go. ShoWTimE's too good to let that one out of there. And he's even going to clean up the medevac before going back for the mine. ShoWTimE's looking so comfortable in this game, and I really think he's going to play the same way he did in the first match of game number 2, where he just goes Colossi up to 4 or 5, adds disruptors, and doesn't go for any other tech. Just goes to push the Terran and really just siege them up with his robo-tech.
I think it's hard to commit with a real big attack on this map, though, because GuMiho could always evacuate from the low ground. He has 3 medevacs right now on the south side of this map. I don't think GuMiho knows that ShoWTimE is running across the map, but he's about to find out with his Widow Mine, and now I wonder what he's going to do with those medevacs. He should send them to the natural of ShoWTimE as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, ShoWTimE has a few pylons and cannons, but it's not enough to stop a triple drop. No. And if he gets over there, there's no TT Shrine in position yet. So you've got to remember ShoWTimE, he doesn't have that base trade perfect setup that he wants.
He's going to see it with one Phoenix, but that's obviously not enough DPS. Immediately warps in a whole bunch of adapts. He could Photon overcharge here.
Good reaction here from ShoWTimE, and he might even be able to try and hunt down this on the map. He's got a lot of Blink Stalkers. Does he have Blink? I think he must have that finished by now, right? Nope. No Blink yet. That's actually a huge mistake. He definitely wants that by this point in the game. There we go. It starts up right now. I think realizing that because he goes to blink after these medevacs and he goes, oh gosh, my Stalkers can't teleport yet.
He's got a whole bunch of Stalkers as well, and obviously you always want to have Stalkers, especially when it comes to Viking against Colossus.
Yeah.
Blink is incredibly important to get your Stalkers in a good position and try to keep your Colossus alive, because that's the main duty of the Stalkers in those battles.
Interesting to see that we haven't seen a disruptor transition until just now. ShoWTimE really has changed up his style from a few months ago when he'd often stop at just 2 or maybe 3 Colossi, trying to force too many Vikings from the Terran. These days, he's really saying you need to go for a huge Viking count.
You gotta be persistent, as GuMiho I think has sent like 6 mines out there and 5 of them died, but the 6th mine took down the Oracle, so he had the right plan all along, and eventually he finally got rewarded.
Throw enough mud, something's got to stick. And eventually it does there for GuMiho. GuMiho's got a very nice army supply. He's got 3-3. He's got 3 extra barracks.
Mine and a missile turret. Mine and a missile turret.
Oh, goodbye, Warp Prism. No, hit the Adept.
The Adept, okay. That's actually not all that bad. GuMiho's units are, I think, a tiny bit out of position. So ShoWTimE should be able to do a little bit of damage there. I wouldn't mind seeing him warp in 2 Zealots here and try to take out that Sentinel.
Oh, Vikings. One-shot that Prism in a very nice volley. Good move there from GuMiho. And Ghosts are finally on the way. So he's starting to add in these final pieces to his tech tree. This is going to be very intense in the late game. There's going to be a lot of micro dancing back and forth. And most of this game is going to be decided by the next large battle.
Man, this is gonna be a crazy fight, that's for sure. A lot of Vikings, 10 Vikings at the moment against 5 Colossus.
I'd love to see another Oracle be rebuilt here by ShoWTimE. I think tagging this army is going to be so important to taking the correct engagement.
I don't like standing here without a Prism though, that's so risky.
Yeah, he's going to need those reinforcements. Oh, does Scout with a Disruptor shot. That's a wasted Disruptor shot. Look at this arc from GuMiho. If ShoWTimE steps in there, it's going to be a trap.
Did he lose a Colossus there, or was that just an Observer?
Yeah, Colossus fell down.
He's losing multiple Observers. It's really risky what ShoWTimE is doing there, because if GuMiho would have had like a flank set up over here on the south side of where his army currently is, there is no way out, and he's forcing himself to commit to a fight where you can't reinforce. And with Storm on the way, a whole bunch of units left behind in the back of the Natural as well, ShoWTimE is playing with fire.
He's up in workers as well, which is why his army supply is so much less right now, especially the army supply here in the engagement. He's got 3 Disruptors and a 4th one rallying across the map. Still got a few Phoenix spaced out. He's got Storm on the way. His 3-3 upgrades are on the way. DT there does spot these units coming on the counter path.
Once again, if you guys just joined us, you are watching Group D, and this is a very big series. Innovation is kind of dominating the group. Not a surprise to many, but after that, things will get close, and this is a very, very big series between these two. The winner is putting himself in an excellent position to move on. Obviously not done yet, but will have picked up 2 best-of-3 victories, and that already brings you a long way.
Nice bit of damage here for GuMiho. Actually gets a few DTs as well, some Adepts just with that little bit of bio, which, I mean, it's pretty obvious he's trying to just clear that supply up. He doesn't want that in his army. He's saying, you guys just go over there and die, and I think he wants to add in a few higher quality units, maybe a few more Ghosts.
Yeah, he already has quite a few. Once again, smart position over here.
Oh, sick EMP! And the Disruptor shot totally whiffs! And oh my gosh, there's so little AoE left. Nice Storm, flank from the left-hand side. The Stalkers, they blink way too late there. This is a bungled engagement from ShoWTimE.
Once again, he's kind of overcommitting there. He doesn't have a Warp Prism. This is exactly what I meant. The flank from the south side, and this is absolutely a victory here for GuMiho. There's still a Dark Templar in the middle. There are a couple of cannons to fall behind to, though, or to fall back to, excuse me, as he has multiple Disruptors on the way. But ShoWTimE lost a very expensive army there.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be enough having these cannons back here. He's trying to desperately rebuild Disruptors. He's got a 5th base up, but GuMiho has kept all of his important tech units alive. All of these Vikings, they can, hell, they could go just land and counterattack somewhere, or you can just keep them alive, which really says, what are you going to do, rebuild Colossi when there's 12 Vikings in the air? This is just such a hard position for ShoWTimE.
How many gateways do we currently have? Oh, that's a very ballsy forward blink. That one Disruptor, he has a lot of faith in that one Disruptor thing.
3-3 Protoss units. Wow, once again, yeah, he's kind of trying to bait GuMiho into a Disruptor shot, I think. Being very ballsy with this positioning, but GuMiho's also got a 5th up down on that gold base right now, with Planetary Fortresses starting to go up all over the place.
Yep, so losing a couple of SCVs here and there does not bother this Korean Terran player all that much, as his economy is plenty strong. ShoWTimE once again is getting very eager.
Oh, nice shade into this base, but it looks like GuMiho is on top of it, only going to grab a few SCVs, and that's not too important at this point.
Nope, I actually think that he makes it harder for himself. Obviously, you want to do economic damage, but 47 workers, when you already have 3-3 upgrades, you are maxed out, you have all your infrastructure in place, that's more than enough. That's a very scary forward blink by ShoWTimE.
ShoWTimE diving into its crazy position. He's completely surrounded. His army just gets completely rolled over. I think he was worried about ranged liberators or something. He tries to push in, but his army just gets crushed for the 2nd time. He's got to pull back. What is he doing fighting out here?
Multiple Vikings gonna land as well. I have no idea, Pig. These Liberators are going to be very scary. One Colossus does show up, and he could still wipe in, of course, a whole bunch of Adepts, because he has a little bit of money in the bank, and he's currently on 71 workers, but he has to be careful. You can't do that one more time, because there will be a point where you can't remax, and where you will be stuck on low-tech units.
There's still Storm in the mix. Massive Storms, massive Disruptor shots are the only way ShoWTimE can bring himself back into this game.
Oh, those pros are going to run straight into a little bio army.
GuMiho playing such a clean, patient late game here, really just waiting for ShoWTimE to make mistakes, and this is so impressive. Remember, GuMiho was on the brink of defeat. He managed to steal a draw away from ShoWTimE in that second map, won the rematch of it, and now here in game number 3, he looks like he is poised to take this very important win.
Yeah, look at this little setup over here by GuMiho right now. That's going to be incredibly hard to break with missile turrets. Oh, a couple of disruptors getting picked off there. Storms do land, but well done, GuMiho. Just 4 or 5 units, splits them off, and he gets 2 disruptors.
ShoWTimE here, he's getting just sieged. This is not a good position. He can't really hold on to this. But not holding on to this base is just as bad as losing it, you know. Give up the income, but your army's not better quality right now. How do you deal with this?
A lot of units are doing quite a bit of damage from the high grounds. A couple of Psy Storms do go down. These Vikings are a little bit low on HP. This one Marauder is going to kill the Nexus. Yeah, the second Marauder was in the safety zone. Look at that one Marauder. That's like this little guy that knows he has a very strong brother and he challenges all the other guys.
Right, ran too far from the help there, man. It looks like a big flank coming around here for ShoWTimE. Wants to jump in on behind. The Liberators are facing the wrong direction right now. ShoWTimE does find a decent angle to start this fight. Oh, Storms land all over the army. ShoWTimE, is he actually finding a way to do this? He's starting to corner GuMiho. He's losing a lot of economy. He's got to shut down this Terran army, and he's got to do it soon.
He's losing a lot of Nexi, lost a whole bunch of workers. Good job there by GuMiho getting out, at least with a little bit, because it felt like this time he was perhaps the one overextending. But I think that was all right for GuMiho in the end, even though he did lose a whole bunch of expended units.
ShoWTimE's going to go for broke, man. He knows he lost way too much economy there. He's going to counter push. He wants to kill GuMiho right now.
He has a Prism this time, I believe, but GuMiho is going to bring these buy units back. Are we looking at another draw pick?
It looks like it might be GuMiho's game plan, but this time around it's going to be so much harder for ShoWTimE. There are so many units at home for GuMiho. He's warping in DTs on the defense. That will be a good start to things. Scan does go down though, cleaning up that first DT. Disruptors and Adepts going in. Oh! Massive disruptor shots. Shred 50 supply in an instant. GuMiho's army gets destroyed there. And suddenly ShoWTimE looks like he might be able to take this base trade.
Let's see how this one goes. I mean, obviously there's a planetary at the fort. That's going to be very hard. But if you can get on top of the production, that's something. Are those probes on the south side of the mini-map? He's escaping. Man, that's awesome.
It's the escort, man.
He's got an invisible escort. I love it.
These medevacs going down in the main as well. ShoWTimE, he's on top of the production. This is the last army here of GuMiho. It's just those medevacs. If ShoWTimE...
Is the fort base, is that an orbital or a planetary?
It's a planetary. The 4th and 5th are both planetaries. If he can snipe these orbitals, that'd be big, but he's only got 7 stalkers, so he's not even focusing on it right now.
Yeah, he needs to start working on those orbitals. If he would have taken them out, that would have been massive, because that means he could get a DT again to start chipping away this army.
Chrono Boost to Void Ray. Do it now. Do it now. I don't know what's happening right now. This game is just devolving into chaos. GuMiho is focusing down the last bits of income, and this is the very last Nexus of ShoWTimE. He does not have enough money to build another Nexus. It looks like we are going into base trade, full base trade mode. No rebuilding here. He's got to build a Void Ray.
One orbital is actually going down. A Void Ray would indeed be excellent. Even a Phoenix could still be something. As long as he... Oh, this is going to be hard to break though.
Yeah.
But he could...
Disruptors can siege this down. He's still got 3 Disruptors.
And also he can just shoot at the SCVs, right? Like, you don't have to kill the planetary immediately. Where did the hidden probe go? That was escorted.
He's still got the Stargate, Roddy. The Stargate, it's still there. GuMiho hasn't identified it just yet, but he's not using it. ShoWTimE, he's got to learn from that mistake in that previous game.
ShoWTimE rebuild his base? What?
It says ShoWTimE has not rebuilt his base. He's lost all his Nexi. He's completely revealed. ShoWTimE needs to build an air unit, but right now he's not even focusing on that because he's so worried about GuMiho just rebuilding a ground army.
Does he have an observer?
He's not even worried about a draw right now. He's just worried about winning the game, or at least forcing a draw.
Yeah, which is crazy. He does indeed really need to build a Void Ray, because if he loses, well, technically he'd lose a pilot. There he goes. GuMiho is going to go for the Stargate, I believe, again. And that means that ShoWTimE can't win this game anymore. The only thing that ShoWTimE can hope for is another draw.
He still has probes alive, so technically he can if the Stargate gets left depowered, but I doubt GuMiho is going to do that.
Okay. I thought the Stargate was already dead.
Oh, Marine's starting to go down from this DT, but that orbital is landed up there in the north side of the map. It's the one that's dropped the scan. Stalker's going to come up here, going to start to shut that down.
That's the orbital, that's pretty big, but look at GuMiho's bank. Yeah, GuMiho is incredibly rich this time. He's about to make like 70 Marines. And then he's just going to go forward and he's going to run through the storm. I love how GuMiho is just ignoring the Stargate.
Oh, Storm! Big feedback as well. Snaps one of the medevacs. Only a few bio units left in there. but 6 tech labs are building right now. The production is setting itself up in the bottom right-hand side of the map. There is nothing there from ShoWTimE to stop this. ShoWTimE put up a valiant effort. He tried to fight his way back into this game, but you can see him there in the bottom of the screen. He's kind of just rolling his shoulders in the booth. He's thinking, how could I possibly win this game at this point?
And this map is so massive as well, which means that these medevacs can just be incredibly annoying. They can keep flying back and forth. Instead of Marines, GuMiho is going to go for Marauders. Tiny bit surprised because he doesn't have that much gas.
Ooh, another medevac does get dropped there, but still 5 medevacs, a few units going around. ShoWTimE going to just dive on top of this Planetary Fortress. Great focus fire. Oh my gosh, the Sentry microed out of Planetary Fortress range, but at the moment it came back in, GuMiho clicked on that, and the Planetary does blast it down.
ShoWTimE has absolutely no idea about all these barracks on the right bottom side, but the Marauder army is suddenly going to be very heavy. There is barely any anti-air, only 5 Stalkers. That's going to be very hard against 3 Liberators. Gosh, what a heartbreaking defeat for ShoWTimE. He had it. He almost had the 2-0 victory. Yeah. Instead, GuMiho got the draw and turned in the round. And it seems like GuMiho is going to be our player. Is going to win this series 2-1.
This Planetary Fortress is going to take a few adepts on its way out as well. The force just getting smaller and smaller. And look at that production tab, ladies and gentlemen. Marauders, Marines, depots. GuMiho is still building. Every second that goes by, he gets more and more stuff.
Yep. He could, like, if he
oh, very nice. The hot pickup on the High Templar drops it into the combat zone and it snaps 3 of those medevacs.
You could do that one more time. A couple of those other medevacs were also super high on energy, but once again, the production is too much. I think that GuMiho is just a little bit too rich. A couple of these disruptive shots killing the adepts as well.
The Storms try to land a desperate last stand from ShoWTimE, but it is not enough. GuMiho, the Tau Terran, the master of chaos. He manages to bring it back from what was an almost certain loss in game number 2, wins the rematch, wins game number 3, and takes the victory 2-1.
Even in game 3, I think he was on the ropes at a certain point where things were starting to look all right for ShoWTimE, where it just kept on expanding. But GuMiho saw a couple of opportunities. This flank from the south side, like I said it before, if ShoWTimE goes that deep, he really gives an opportunity for GuMiho to get an awesome engagement. And well, you don't need to tell a world-class Terran like GuMiho that he got the job done. Gotta feel a little bit for ShoWTimE though. That's a heartbreaking defeat.
It's a hard pill to swallow there, but he's still in it. He's down 1-2, but he's still got a great shot. GuMiho going up to 2-1 will have a really good shot. Let's hear from the man himself in just a minute. We'll be right back.